Go, 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 shawty. It's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. Gonna sip a Bacardi like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck, that's your birthday. Happy 50th episode. That was a 50-cent reference for the 50th episode. We hit another milestone, baby. We hit another milestone. Real quick, before we talk about the milestone. That song, 50 Cent, I just realized right now. Go shorty, it's your birthday. We're gonna sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. Cool, sounds great. And then he says, and you know we don't give a fuck that it's your birthday. What? You just said go shorty, it's your birthday. Gonna sip Bacardi. Okay, so here, let's break it down real quick. Real quick. We'll do this real quick. Rabbit hole. Peter Rabbit. Diving in. Go shorty, it's your birthday. Okay, so 50, we have Mr. Curtis Jackson acknowledge that it is the person's birthday. We're going to do this like it's a court trial. Okay, go shorty, it's your birthday. It's your birthday. We going to party like it's your birthday. Okay, well, you just said it was my birthday, so we don't need to party like it's my birthday because, plot twist, it is my birthday. Okay, so we're going to sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. Okay, now we're drinking Bacardi like it's my birthday, but we already stated that it was my birthday. And then to top it off with all the confusion, and we don't give a fuck that it's your birthday. You just made so much about it being my birthday and like my birthday and what we're going to do, and now you don't give a fuck that it's my birthday. What kind of bullshit is this, Fitty? Okay? I just realized how confusing that song is. It doesn't make any sense. If you're watching the video, you'll see the lighting is a little different. One of my lights decided to explode before this episode. Explode! Shout out to Fourth Wall. It just randomly exploded when I turned it on this morning. So that's just what happens. That's behind the scenes stuff. Everybody thinks that it's all just magic. You just hit record and bam, it all just happens. Nah, this is a studio setup. We got real lights in here. We got camera. We have assistants over here. We have another assistant over here. We have a secretary over here. We have my lawyer over here to make sure I don't say anything crazy, which I do. Yeah. 50th episode. I was going to go down another rabbit hole inside that rabbit hole. I could go down rabbit holes inside rabbit holes till we get to the center of the fucking earth. We just hit lava. That's how far down I can go into rabbit holes. Good times. Welcome to the 50th episode. I believe it was on the 25th episode milestone. We just put out an episode of 25 random facts, and I talked about it. Wasn't my best episode. I didn't really enjoy doing it. It felt pretty laborious. I don't know if that's a word. It sounds a little much like labia. Sorry. Gotta be, politically correct now. They're going to cancel me in the future. Here's the great thing, though. I'm going to get canceled after I'm dead. So, probably I'll get canceled before. But no matter what, I'll be canceled when I'm dead. Because that's what's happening right now. We don't need to go too far into this, but we're all over the place. Everybody's tearing down statues. And it's interesting. It's interesting because I'm like, did y'all not know that the Constitution was written at a time when there were slaves? Did you guys not know that our founding fathers had slaves at that time? Like, I thought we all knew we had a pretty not as racially sensitive demographic and society in the beginning. But here's the great thing. Here's the great thing about when you can look back in history is you see the progress. And while I'm like, yeah, we don't need to parade all these old statues and everybody's tearing down statues, tear down. Like, you realize that we're going to eventually start eating our own tail. Because we're going to start creating a world where nothing controversial is allowed. And it's not even that it's racist or that it is segregating or whatever it is. It's what people want to interpret it as. You could take anything and interpret it a certain way. which is crazy to me. And it makes me, I'll be honest, a lot of you people are pushing me off social media. I'll be honest. Your boy has fantasies of just closing up shop, living off the land on a farm somewhere, maybe writing a book every now and then under an alias, get my creative juices out like that, because I see the landscape of social media and cancel culture. Cancel culture has never been bigger. And that's something that's sad to me is I thought this was my whole thought process of the pandemic is that, before it, I was doing this bit about how we've gotten so ridiculous with our dating ads and what we want in another person. Like we've just gotten, because we inherently have this need to struggle. And without the struggle, we overcomplicate our life because our lizard brain needs to struggle. So we find struggles and problems in everyday stuff that shouldn't be a big deal. And I would literally say in the joke, we need some kind of we need a good world war or a world disease, something to kind of kick us back into perspective of I guess we don't need to be unicorns. Unicorns don't need rights. But I thought during this pandemic, it was going to start flipping back to we need to survive. We need to, realize what is reality and what is ridiculous. But it seems like it's slingshot. It made social justice warriors, they came together like fucking Autobots, or more like Power Rangers. That's what happened recently, is that everybody linked up into one big Power Ranger, Megatron. Not Megatron. It was a Lord Zord? No, Lord Zord. What am I, 90 years old? When the Power Rangers would all morph? Go Power Rangers, and then they would all morph, and then they would call in their that Green Ranger shit. Hashtag green bars. They all morphed into that. So you got, and this is the thing. I'm happy for peaceful protests and people who want to support real stuff that is happening and that needs change. What's happening now is everybody's piggybacking, and it's morphing to this giant ball rolling down the road of just, we're going to destroy everything, start over. And I don't know where it ends. There's some things that are good. I think, they're highlighting some reform that needs to be happening. And then there's some that are just going way too far with it. And everybody's getting canceled as comedians. And, there's so many people. It's just so weird. I wasn't planning on talking about this. So take a shot if you're playing the game of how many times Evan is going to say, I wasn't planning on talking about this. Bars. There's so much cancel culture going on and people protesting and just people trying to cancel other people. And the weirdest thing about social media, and this is why I almost want to get away from it, there's slacktivism. And it's when people, they don't want to make any real changes, but they want to feel like they're part of it. So what am I going to do? Hey, I'm going to post a story that lasts for 24 hours. And it's just going to be supporting something that I didn't do any research on and didn't find out if it was true. So I'm just going to put this out. It's going to do more harm than good. But hey, I did something. And it's something I even was seeing this morning, right before the podcast started. And I'm like, we can't be doing this. We can't be fueling bad stuff. And it's not real activism. I'm sorry. And I don't really, that's the thing is I've been told to use my social media to do something. And what, are you not going to stand for anything? And I'm like, hey, buddy, I've been doing shit my whole life by being a good person, trying to promote healthy thoughts. And that's the thing is I haven't always been a thoughtful person. I've made mistakes. There's a version of Evan 5 years ago that I'm embarrassed about because, hey, he wasn't as smart. He had experienced more life. And then there's a version of Evan 10 years ago where I'm like, you fucking idiot. He wasn't that smart. And then you go back another 5 years and it's on and on. And the thing is that we need progress. We need people to constantly evolve and change. And it's cool to see. And for me, when I was younger to look back on my life and go, you did it, you son of a bitch. I'm in. You actually changed your life. You grew from that person you thought you were, and you're a better person now. And I don't know. When you start seeing people like Jimmy Fallon and everybody get canceled because the people are going after everything, and some of it rightfully so. But it's just such an interesting thing because I'm like, where does it stop? Where do we draw the line? I don't know. I don't know what I'm even trying to say. So much for the 50th episode. Fuck this shit. I'm out. This will be the last episode ever. I'm just kidding. I'm back now. Welcome back to the podcast. 7.5 minutes in heaven. You guys are back inside me. Which I'm probably going to get canceled for that because I told you guys you were inside me, and someone's going to take that, cancel me for it. It kind of feels like people are just protesting old people now, That's why I'm like, oh, you guys are so brave. You guys are canceling people who are already canceled by life. They're already dead. You guys are like, tear it down. It's pretty funny. One thing, and that's the thing, is I don't really care about statues. Tear them down. I don't give a shit. But it's just like anything controversial is getting torn down right now. Anything. And I don't know how I feel about it. I'm sure as I process it over time, I'm like, yeah, maybe it'll make more sense. Like my high school mascot got changed this week, the Court Hill Rebels, which I guess it started off as the Rebels. I don't know if it was linked to Confederate soldiers, but they had changed it over time to be, I forgot what it was supposed to be, but it wasn't the Confederate rebel anymore. It was just a rebel. And I don't give a shit if they want to change the mascot. It doesn't affect me. There's some people that are they hate it. They're like, my life is over. Everything I thought was real. But I don't give a shit. Tear it down. But it's like when we all are old people, every single one of us at different points in our life, we're going to look back at this time and you realize that if we keep going with this sensitive culture that we're creating and everybody has the micro triggers and safe spaces and everything, the next generations that sprout up out of this are going to look back on this generation and be like, wow, you guys were tearing down statues because of someone who had opposite thoughts and beliefs than you did. How ignorant. And then they're going to tear down those statues. And then the cycle is going to continue where each generation just keeps tearing everything down. And then they're going to be like, we're going to burn all the books because it was written by blah, blah, blah. If you think, like, that's the thing is we got to start tearing down NASA and everything because we have tons of Russian scientists and everything like that and German scientists from World War I believe. So we need to take everything out. There's literally, it doesn't end ever, which is why I feel like this is my thought behind it is, yeah, if there's some crazy statues you guys want to take down, I've talked so much about fucking statues. Take them down. If it makes you happy, take them down. But hey, you know what's more important than trying to tear down the past? Fix the future, okay? Not by just randomly burning all your rocket fuel. Like there's people who are racist now. There's companies that are actually causing segregation. There's companies that actually discriminate, whether it's by design and, rather than you actually taking the time to do your research and figure out where those companies are and who they are and how you can help fix that to create more opportunities for people. You're wasting all your energy and time wanting to take down everything from the past. Hey, the past is done. We don't need to parade statues around. I know the counter arguments. Anything linked to slavery and discrimination and everything like that. The thing is with that model, everything has to go. Your iPhones have to go. That's the biggest thing about the hypocrisy of it. And listen, I'm living the hypocrisy too. I am looking at my iPhone right now that was made by little kids in China, sweatshops. There's a reason why. I don't know if you know this, but iPhone, they have nets around their building to avoid people not letting people kill themselves while they're at work. Okay, because that's how shitty the work is. But a lot of you guys are posting all this slacktivism from iPhones that were made in sweatshops. That's the thing, is like, you Amish people could actually criticize our country. No one else, because you're part of it, okay? That's like, I think that's what the biggest silly thing is while you guys are busy tearing down statues of things of the past, there's stuff going on right now that you support. And maybe that's what's going to happen in the future, is they're going to tear down your iPhone because they'll be like, wow, you used an iPhone which was linked to sweatshops. Oh, you wore Nikes that were linked to sweatshops. Okay, you piece of shit. And you're going to be like, no, I tried to do things that were better than our past, so I was progress. And they're like, no, it doesn't matter if you were progress. By our standards, you were linked to sweatshops and, crimes against humanity. We're going to tear you down. You're like, no, I was trying to do the best I could. I just didn't know. Canceled. Is it starting to make sense yet? I know some people have shut the podcast off just based on how many times I've actually said the word statue. And let me just say, I don't care about statues. The only statue I've ever taken a picture in front of was the Rocky statue in Philadelphia bars. I ran up those stairs like every other person who visits it, stood in front of the thing, did my peace sign picture, boom. Hey, Adrian, you best believe I did that, okay? That's who I am now. Yeah. It's just interesting. And I'm sorry this is so protest driven. It's just, this is what's going on right now. This is just what I find interesting, is looking at society and seeing what we spend our time on and what is happening. I literally had to reach out to a couple friends before this because I'm just like, there's a certain point where I can't see your stories anymore, where I can't roll my eyes anymore because they're literally doing backflips in my eyeballs, my eye holes, if you will, because of the slacktivism and the inability to research things before they post them. And the good thing is that when I actually give people information and be like, hey, did you Google this? Or, this and that, they'll be like, oh, my bad, bro, blah, 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 which is good. But it's like, it can be dangerous because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if you look just at the facts of what's happening during this pandemic, a couple things. Coronavirus, it's hard to actually say anything about coronavirus because the numbers are skewed in so many different ways. Yeah, there's more cases because we're doing a lot more testing, but there's also more people in the hospitals. So we're in the middle of a pandemic still. But on the other side of it, all these protests about defunding the police, I think there was 9 people shot in Minneapolis last night. And who did they call? The police. Why? Because there's a vacuum that happens when you try to remove the police. This is the thing, is that a lot of people, and this is the thing, I grew up in the Antelope Valley. Has the Antelope Valley been known to be ghetto? Yes, but you know what? I fucking love that desert. That desert gave me everything I fucking need in life. It gave me perspective, and it gave me reality that good people exist and bad people exist. Whether those bad people were spurred by lack of opportunity, it's sad, but they still exist. Okay? And if we do something so hard, like let's remove the police, defund them, the criminals just don't go, all right, no one's going to harass us. Now let's be good people because we have opportunities. No, they're going to see the opportunity of, wow, now we can criminalize everybody. And that's what's been happening. I think there was in Chicago over 40 people shot in one day. But I don't know if you saw that on the news, but it doesn't fit the narrative. A lot of people who are doing a lot of this slacktivism with defund the police and everything. I don't know if they just grew up in a place that didn't have a lot of crime, but a lot of people don't want to defund the police or get rid of the police because they know the wolf that's waiting at the door. Bars, poetic bars. You like the way I did that shit on the 50th episode? But before I get too off topic, it's so true. I think there's a lack of reality attributed when you start saying these certain things. You have these belief systems that they're ideologies. In a perfect world, it would be great, but we have real variables and we have real statistics and everything to go off of. I would love to create a world where we didn't need police. It would be very hard to create that, but if we could get closer to it, I'm all for it. And I'm not pessimistic. I mean, I'm pessimistic on reality when I'm like, yeah, these are the facts and people are going to be shitty. But I'm optimistic. And I was talking to a buddy this weekend about it. And we agreed that it needs to start with the kids, the little kids right now. They're just coming up. It's sad that the reality is a lot of people are stuck in their ways. So you're hitting 20, 30, and I've talked to high school teachers. My buddy who I was talking to this weekend, his dad is a teacher and he would be dealing with kids who would be like, look, his dad would be like, what do you want to do with your life after you graduate high school? I'm going to be a drug dealer. Okay, why are you going to do that? Because I know how to do it. I know how to make money. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this and I'm going to make this money and it's going to be easy. And his dad would try to help, but he's just like, you know what? Fine. Sit in the back of the class, for a couple reasons, because it's like that kid's gone. He's already too old. He's too set in his way. He has too many influences outside of school that he can change with. And that's the thing, is that teachers don't get paid enough to be mental health care workers, social workers, to go above and beyond for every single student. And they shouldn't be expected to. They don't get paid enough for that. And it's like everybody has to take responsibility for the home, So there needs to be something for the kids coming up right now. The little kids right now, they're the future. They're the ones that can actually have change, because it's not going to be immediate, That's just how I feel, ladies and gentlemen. But I do think, someone calling me right now? My apologies. I do think that there needs to be some accountability for clickbait titles. I think this is dangerous. This has been the most dangerous thing that I've seen during this pandemic. I've always thought that the news was so dangerous, that they're always lying because they don't care about informing you. They want to get clicks. And I don't know if, I don't think, and this is me just looking at it, I don't think the news stations, the people putting out the articles, I don't think they're evil people. I don't think they're warlords that are just like these people, warlords, I don't know why I said warlords, that want to do bad things. I think that they're by design. I think it's a system that has been put in place where they need clicks. Has nothing to do with them wanting to do these kind of articles, but they're just like, hey, when we do fucking pieces on these tigers in the zoo and these people doing, community service and all this good stuff for their environment, it doesn't get the clicks that we need, Oh, when we put an article out about a shooting or, this racial divide stuff, our ratings are through the roof. We're getting so much money, we can actually pay our staff. So I think by design, these companies, the media, they've pushed this narrative because it knows it is profitable. I sound like such a weird conspiracy theorist. And that's crazy that by talking objectively, this is what you come across as now. It's so interesting. It's just so weird overall how everything is. Yeah. Rabbit holes, ladies and gentlemen. Rabbit holes. How you guys doing? You guys living? You guys doing good out there, rocking it in the free world? It's just been such a weird time where it's hard to be, I don't know. There's not really a lot to joke on. It's like, I try to keep this to be a comedy podcast, but in reality, what comedy is going on right now? I do think it's funny. I look at things, and this is how I kind of write jokes, is I look at certain things and I think they're just so silly the way we do things, like tearing down statues. Why the fuck were we even building statues to start? How weird is that? That we just have statues of people. That and taxidermy. I always thought taxidermy was so weird. That would be something we should cancel people for. The future is probably going to cancel us for that. But I really do think that's like the real thing, is that I don't know. I don't know what is the best way. Do I think that, I think almost that we should be more sensitive on the past and more understanding on the past, and look at those times and be like, that's the thing, is that, do we throw out the Constitution because it was written by men who had slaves? You start getting into interesting territory, because based on the theory and motivation of some people, why they're tearing down statues now, the answer would be yes. It's almost like this hive mentality of no variables of being allowed at all. We can't even look at a different time in life and be like, those were different times, and these were very ignorant people, and by our standards now, they weren't good people. But for their time, they were trying to do the right thing, and they were pushing forward for independence for the people. That's the whole reason we became a nation, was trying to give independence back to people. So I think progress like that is something that you should look on and be like, they were trying, they pushed. And that's the thing, is we needed that push from there to be able to get to where we're at now. And maybe tearing down all these statues and all of this stuff now is progress that we need to push the next generation forward. But it's almost like people want to erase the past, and they want to pretend that those certain people didn't do other things for the country. It's interesting. It's such a conundrum, if you will. Bars, dictionary, bars. It's interesting. But I do have fantasies about closing up shop and fucking writing books and shit. I'll just write fucking fantasy novels, and I'll work out, get all oiled up, and I'll fucking model my own fantasy novel. Just get a fucking sword. I have a speech impediment. A sword, and just stand there with a dragon while I'm all fucking oiled and lubed up, just fucking writing fantasy novels for the rest of my life. You guys won't even know it's me, because I'll just have them Photoshop a different face on me, and I'll go under like the pen name Ernest Bogglebottoms or some shit like that. Obviously can't use that one, because you guys are going to know it's me. But I fantasize about that, just getting away from social media completely, deleting Instagram, deleting Twitter. I don't even tweet. Deleting Snapchat, everything. I don't even use Snapchat. I just have like one or two people randomly sell me snaps. Sell me snaps, send me snaps. I'm not in anybody's premium Snapchat channel. God damn it. And just getting away from everything, because I don't like the current state of it. I don't. It's very toxic. I like the memes and everything like that. And it sounds like I don't like I like that so many people are getting the right to speak, and they're getting to voice their opinion. But the thing is that a lot of people they want to silence other voices. They want to only voice their opinion. If you look back on this, what is his name? Brett Weinstein. You look at Evergreen. That was a college where they wanted only, I forgot what day it was, but it was about a book where an all-black, no, it wasn't an all-black community. It was a city or a town, the fiction book, where for one day, all the black people didn't go into town. They didn't work. They didn't do anything. And the town realized how important black community was. It's a good book. This college created a holiday around that. And then what they wanted to do was a day on the college where none of the white people were allowed to show up to the college. And one of the professors, Brett Weinstein, he protested that. He showed up and he was met with some of the most ignorant hate. And there's literally college kids there that were saying, your little freedom of speech doesn't matter here. We don't want your freedom of speech. We want our speech to be heard. And it's a slippery slope because it feels like that's what is spilled over to social media and could spill over to the rest of our world, is that kind of mentality, is that you can only have freedom of speech if you hold a certain opinion. And at the core value, here's the thing, is that I probably line up a lot with people protesting everything, because if your core belief is that everybody should be entitled to equality and opportunity and the freedom to live their life, I support that 100%. But I also support people to have different opinions, and for those opinions to be held with respect. Respect in the fact that that person, even though you don't have the same view and belief on something, you can still acknowledge them and they still have the right to pursue what they're doing with their life, even though they have a different perspective. That's okay. That's where the whole freedom of speech thing comes into play. And it feels like on social media especially, you can only have that freedom of speech if you hold the opinion of the masses, because then you get attacked, you get taken down, which is... it's kind of crazy. It's a wild world out there. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I do have that fantasy of I don't know if I would actually write fiction novels. It'd be fun. Maybe a couple screenplays. But here's the thing. I also don't want to be in Hollywood. Your boy also has fantasies of leaving the state, which is probably going to happen. Your boy might head back out west. No, actually, I guess it'd be heading north almost. It's just cool to say heading out west. But I really love Texas. Dallas is a dope city, and I want the opportunity just to live my life and to keep pushing progress. I think the greatest thing that we can do for people is give people opportunity to not be in such need of the government, real independence. And I think that's something that people don't realize, is that everybody needs to educate themselves and become independent enough to where they can get fuck you money. Here's the thing. When I say fuck you money, the ability to say fuck you to something that you don't want to do. That's why your boy started his own business. That's why I got a few streams of income, because if something dries up, hey, I can go fuck you. I'm not going to do this. If there's ever a job and someone starts talking disrespectful to me, hey, I'm not going to do this job for you. We can go ahead and nullify the contract, and I'm not going to be here anymore. Because there was times in the past where I needed money. I needed to do a certain job, and there was times when I had to put up with bullshit, where I'd have someone talking disrespectfully to me. Dude, one time had a job where the person was joking with me while I was filming them. And then he said something along the lines of, yeah, well, why don't you just focus on the camera and make me look good, boy? He said that to me. And it took every red blood cell in me to not beat the shit out of this person, because I needed the money, because I was in a situation where your boy just needed money like everybody does. And I got myself to a point where I'm like, I don't have to take those jobs. You know, it's all about that. And I think that's really the way that people become independent, is by creating your own opportunity, getting yourself to a position where you can help others get opportunity and do what they enjoy. If everybody thinks that the government wants to help them, the thing is everybody's attacking each other. I think this is my biggest pet peeve with the the current state of everything is people are attacking people rather than attacking the government. When we're saying things like, if you support Trump, you're a racist and don't care about trans people and blah, blah, blah. Rather than figuring out a way to actually go after the politicians, everybody's sitting here arguing with each other about what the other person supports. Why don't we go after the people that actually make the laws? Politicians don't want the current state of things to change. Whether the Democrats want to pretend they're of the people, they're about big business. You can do some research and you can find out that during the Clinton administration, everything started switching to big business, and you need to start supporting this and everything. And they took on what a lot of people consider the Republican model of greasing the palms of all these big businesses to make it better for big business. Not as good for the people, but the Democrats still want to pretend like they're for the people. But the thing is, if you think about it, with how everybody, the structure of making money is, why would they ever want anything to change? So I think the first step in getting to a point where things have to change is not relying on the government as much. And I think this is the beautiful thing. While I talk a lot of shit about the internet, this is the beautiful thing. Everything I fucking know about video production, about photography, podcasting, music, comedy, everything is because of the internet. So I will always be indebted to the internet. There is not a single thing that you can't learn on the internet, okay? I always say it like this, that if you went back to the 40s or the 30s, if you went back to the 1700s and you had a cell phone, they would think you were a goddamn wizard, because you would go, I have in my hand here the answer to any question there has ever been asked. You could literally get an answer for anything. So the only barrier to entry for anything you want to do with your life is you. That's the truth. And I think that's why a lot of people get so pessimistic and negative and they troll successful people. It's because deep down inside, you know you're the reason why you're not successful, why you're not accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish. Because it's a hard day to wake up and realize you're the reason why you're not doing the things you want to do with your life. It's very easy to point the finger and say, I'm literally going into the Rocky speech, that you're not where you want to be because of him or her or whatever. And that's literally the truth, because I went through that too. Even when that's why I recommend everybody to journal, is because once I got a journal, there was no more hiding from my bullshit. And I decided that no matter what's happened in my life, dumb things I've done, bad things that have happened to me from other people, no matter what it was, I had to stop blaming them. And I had to stop being a victim, because no one was ever going to rescue me. And no matter what, I had to accept it, that it was my responsibility, because then I could find a way to fix it. And that's the truth. And once I did that and I started seeing the patterns, it was embarrassing. It was... I felt bad for myself in the sense of I was just like, ugh, you pussy, Evan. Okay. That's how I talk to myself. I don't speak nicely. Hashtag self-love is important though. But it's the truth, is that I had to acknowledge that the reason why I'm not doing the things I want to do is because of myself. No one else. I can't blame the current state of comedy. I can't blame the current state of political shit, that, no one likes this because of this and blah, blah, blah. Everybody just wants to watch TikToks and blah, blah, blah. Fuck it. You play the field how it is. And you know what? All that bullshit is going to go away, and it's just going to be consistency. So I think it's important that you don't blame anyone else for what you're dealing with. You got to just accept responsibility and keep it moving, pimpin'. Just keep moving in the direction that you want to go and the things you want to do. And use the internet as a tool. That's the thing, is you have to have discipline. This just turned into fucking Gary V without the corny shit. Dude, Gary V is so corny to me. I like him. I like his stuff. I like that he's pushing people to be motivated. But I'm sorry, there's something about like a 45-year-old man who's like, yo, y'all need to follow me on TikTok, because I'm going to be dropping these gems. Okay? I'm going to be fucking telling you what you need to fucking hear. Gary Vee is the modern version of the teacher that would sit on the chair backwards. He would like fling it around, and he would sit, and remember like your high school teacher that cussed, and you were like, whoa, he's cool. That's Gary Vee. He'd just sit down and be like, yo, so I'm going to talk to you about Snapchat. Are you guys on TikTok? Yo, I'm all over TikTok. Hey guys, I'm going live on TikTok right now. I don't know. There's just something about it. I also saw an interview where he says he doesn't let his little kids win in basketball, and that he like slams the ball in their face and shit. And I'm like, kind of a dick, you know. Maybe let your little kid score on you, maybe once or twice. But at the end of the day, I do respect Gary Vee. I do think he's a hustler at the end of the day. I just think it comes across weird. But yeah, there really is nothing stopping you from doing what you want to do when it comes to accomplishing shit. Have you guys ever known anybody that messes up words more than me on a podcast? Me neither. But I think that's it for today. This was the 50th episode. We didn't really make a celebration out of it. We just got to business as usual. I was going to try to do something. I was actually going to have a guest who I won't reveal, but she got coronavirus, so she couldn't be here. I think she's in the ER right now dealing with it. So, you know, if she makes it, then we'll have her on one of the next episodes whenever she's not contagious. Yeah, and here's a hint, she'll play some music for you guys. Yeah, it'll be a good time. I didn't want to do 50 facts. That was just boring. We'll never do something like that again. I'm sorry that if you listen to it. I don't know if it was 25. I think it was 25 random facts. I don't know. Yeah, but it was Father's Day. We didn't even talk about Father's Day. My pops came out and we barbecued, make some jalapeno bacon wrapped chicken. Jalapeno bacon wrapped chicken was delicious. You know, we just had a good time, stared at the ocean and just lived our life. But yeah, that was a great segment on Father's Day, huh? My favorite thing on Father's Day is when you know the single moms, when they're posting shit on Father's Day and they're just like, yeah, happy Father's Day to me. And I'm like, yeah. I actually make that a point. There's a few single mothers that I know that I make sure I text them on Father's Day because, you know, you just got to do it. You know, there's some dads who just show up. That's the funny thing is when you see dads with like a 10-year-old picture, like I'm like, dude, you haven't seen that thing in forever. You just dug that out to get a little bit of likes on the gram, you know? Oh, what people do for those brownie points. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say I love you and I miss you. And I'll see you on Wednesday.